Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another morning meditation. I hope you're all doing very well. Today's weather is warming up a little bit. We have lots of fog. So, again, the temperature is fluctuating. It was very cold and snowy every day, and now it's going up a little bit. Um, During this time period, it's very important to know that that also is perhaps causing disharmony with our body. So, um, take extra care. Even though it might get a little warmer, make sure you take care to protect your body, keep warm, make sure that you're eating easily digestible foods, taking it easy during this season. So, with that, let us go right into our meditation. So, let's begin to stretch a little bit. Our head towards the angle. Other way. Good. Now we're going to go towards the left, allowing our head just to, as it is on a kind of axis, allow it to just rock around slowly. Opposite way. Actually, it takes a little bit of effort to learn how to move your body to allow it to rotate. Good. Pull up our shoulders, drop them. Time. Drop them. Okay. So now let us do our pranayama. We'll breathe in through our nose, exhale through our mouth. 3, 5, and 7. So follow me. Let us inhale, hold, exhale. Good. Inhale, hold, exhale. Last round. Hold and exhale. Now we're going to prepare our body to sit up straight. Our hands together, Hokai join. We're going to put our ears over our shoulders, tuck in our chin, close our eyes, close our mouth gently. The sound of the bell. We're going to begin exhaling. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo in our mind. Stop. Inhale. Simply observe. And let's continue this throughout the meditation. The sound of the bell. Allow your mind to drift into concentration. Bring your attention back to your body. Release your concentration. Sit for a moment and scan the state of your mind, breath, breathing, and body. As we come back to our body, let us move our fingers, our toes, gently sway, rubbing our hands together, place them over the eyes, opening the fingers, allowing the light to come back. Today I wanted to discuss a little bit about if you may find yourself, because a lot of people state that dhyana or concentration is very difficult to get to, especially as the Buddha stated in the Mappo, the decline latter age of the law. Um, this this stage is very difficult to reach. So therefore, all of the different masters of the different traditions and lineages have brought their own way of guiding people according to the time and place which they lived towards enlightenment to samadhi. It's very interesting because Nichiren Shonen, which the Mappo, the Kamakura era, the 13th century, is seen as being the beginning of Mappo. And so Nichiren Shonen, in his awareness and wisdom, stated and thought through his practice that the other forms and practices of Buddhism, um, some of them were not transmitted properly because the era before the era of Mappo, before the era of degeneration, is seen as the Shobo Zobo, Zobo being kind of pretend, in which people would pretend externally that they had attained what they had not. So therefore, the actual experience of Dhyana was, as he may have thought, tainted. There were a lot of masters who said that they were masters or based on position or nobility, etc., were seen as being masters but had not yet actually attained what they said that they had attained or what they preached that they had attained. So in the Mappo era, Nichiren Shonen revisited, according to the teachings of the Buddha, based on the Lotus Sutra, what practice, what object of veneration, what sutra should be used. And so far as we know, his conclusion was that the Lotus Sutra is the main object of practice and study. And then he created the Om Mandala as the object of veneration and the Odaimoku as the mantra or the also the expression of the object of veneration. So it's very interesting because this is carried over in many, how do you say, practical and instructional manuals, that dhyana or concentration, to get to this point, there are many limbs or many steps, many things that you would have to attain or cultivate before one would actually be in the correct state to enter into dhyana. And if you are finding dhyana, sitting meditation, difficult, there is a suggestion, which is very interesting, especially from the Yoga Sutra. And the Yoga Sutra, many people may not know or be aware of it, written by Patanjali, the great sage Patanjali, is very heavily Buddhist influenced. And it's a very, or how do you say, it's a very challenging text. Luckily, we have commentary with it. But in order to actually understand the text, as we had seen with Master Tiantai, it's important that one has a master to study. Otherwise, someone could easily misunderstand. So, with this being said, Nichiren Buddhism is based on dhyana. So, all of the practices that we see, the service that we do, chanting the sutra, uh, chanting the daimoku, or forms of this jhana, this kind of meditation to allow us to gain the correct stages, um, to invoke dhyana in our mind, which of course then leads to the ultimate goal, samadhi. And samadhi is a general word for this goal of this kind of smoothing of the waves of the mind, is what samadhi is seen as. Of course, in Nichiren Buddhism, we have our own concept or word for that. Every tradition does. Ours is kanjin. That means that when we smooth the waves, we're able to see reality as it is, see insight, gain insight into the Buddha's true mind. And so, if one finds dhyana or meditation challenging, that is because we have karma to work on. We have a certain mindset, certain samskara, certain images, patterns in our mind and our behavior that we need to work through. And sometimes that can be very challenging, especially if there's a lot of trauma or a lot of um, fear, etc. So therefore, it is experienced and said that one can add, and I believe Nichiren Shonin did this in his tradition, adding this what is called Kriya Yoga. Now, Kriya is also seen as a lot of time devotional practice, but actually Kriya means a way of action. And so in Patanjali's second chapter, Sutra 1, he states, Kriya Yoga, action yoga, is the path of action, consists of self-discipline, study, and dedication to the Lord. Now, when it says that to the Lord, that is one aspect, because the sutra can be used both ways. For those who, by Buddhism, where we don't have we don't focus on the Godhead or Creator, and then the idea of the people like the tradition of Shiva or Ganesh or etc. They focus particularly on that deity. Yoga for one with a controlled mind, that means one who is able to work towards dhyana, uh, was described and explained in the first part. This is why this is chapter 2. Um, Somebody asked, what about for those whose mind is not so fixed? That fixing the mind, even on the daimoku in meditation, is challenging. He reads the sutra as indicating how one whose mind is not fixed may practice a more action-oriented type of yoga, referred to here by Patanjali as Kriya Yoga, which consists of discipline, which is called tapas, study, shavadaya, and dedication to deity, Ishvara Pranidhana. In the Buddhism, tapas is a kind of renunciation. So that means that one um, has to make a vow. We see this in the Lotus Sutra. One must make a dedication of vow. In order to get something, have to give something up. So therefore, there is some vow, some austerity. So therefore, we can't simply practice without changing something. A lot of people want to practice Buddhism without giving up or changing something. So therefore, they use meditation simply as a device for mindfulness or mind awareness, but not in the same sense as the Buddhism as our goal. That's why understanding the goal is very essential. So tapas is this kind of austerity, such as the precepts, or um, giving up something, such as not indulging in, for instance, so many comfort, or giving up some desire, etc. And the second is study, svadhyaya. Study, as Nichiren Shonin said, without learning and practicing, there is no Buddhism. The learning is the studying of the sutra, of the text. The practicing is the tapas, the idea of renunciation. Even as a householder, There are many practices within the householder tradition of Buddhist being simple, or how to, um, for instance, dana, giving to others, such as giving food or giving donations, etc. And then the last being the dedication to deity, Shvara Pranidhana. In our tradition, this dedication means we look up to the Buddha. That is why in the Lotus Sutra, it focuses on the eternal Buddha, and that we gain faith in the eternal Buddha and connect, as written and symbolized in the Gohonzon, with the ceremony in the sky, with that moment, with that part of our karma, that it is implied that if you practice Nichiren Buddhism, you have the karma connected to the Lotus Sutra. So therefore, you have met it in the past. You're familiar. So therefore, one dedicates themselves, and this is one aspect of Buddhism that I think is very much lacking in these days, is that this kind of veneration of the Buddhas. Wherever Buddhism was, how do you say, prosperous, this veneration practice, this Kriya practice was used. But then when Buddhism became too intellectual, where it just focused on the study and the debate intellect, Buddhism declined. Because the majority of people, as householders, are having a different type of practice, or they have a different type of karma. That sitting in meditation for long periods, etc., are not an option. So therefore, how do we get to this point of dhyana? We cultivate good causes and good conditions. So therefore, veneration of the Buddha, along with learning and practicing, is very essential. So what I encourage people to do is that when you come in contact with the Gohonzon, when you are chanting, focus on the Gohonzon, see the Buddha, and that every day, please venerate the Buddha. Feel it in your heart, in your body, that you feel appreciative, ariyatai. Without this mindset, one cannot properly practice Buddhism. It's very essential that we do that. So thank you very much, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please have an enlightened and peaceful day, and see you next time.